Dear students, today we will recite and understand an interesting poem based on the poet's one of the childhood experiences. The children, those who have siblings, will find it more interesting and funny. The poem The Shed has been written by Frank Finn, who was a Northern Territory based Australian doctor, author, and missionary priest. He is notable for his contribution to religion, medicine, and Aboriginal welfare. Theme or central idea of the poem. The poem is based on rationality to fearlessness. Here, the poet is thinking that whatever fear we are having, are they real or not? The poem teaches us that we should not believe in baseless and imaginative stories about ghosts and other supernatural creatures, as these stories are mostly used by people for their own benefits. Children and young adults, therefore, should not believe in irrational beings like ghosts and various superstitions associated with them. The poet successfully establishes these ideas through the characters of the narrator and his brother. The narrator's brother fabricates a story about a ghost inhabiting the shed in order to prevent the narrator from entering the shed and keep the shed all to himself. The narrator starts believing his story and imagines someone staring at him every time he passes by the shed. However, the narrator does not believe his manipulative story for very long and decides to enter the shed. Now, dear students, recite this poem on your own. Now, explanation of the poem. Stanza 1. There's a shed at the bottom of a garden, with a spider's web hanging across the door. The hinges are rusty and creak in the wind. When I am in bed, I lie and listen. I'll open that door one day. So, in these lines, the poet is describing a shed that is at the bottom of his garden. Nobody goes inside the shed. Therefore, the hinges or the door joints have become rusty and make a lot of noise whenever the wind blows. At day or night, when the poet lays in his bed peacefully, he listens to these noises and wishes that he would go inside the shed someday. So, what are the poetic devices used here? Rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme is A, B, C, A, D. Let's notice the word at the end of the sentence. Garden, no, door, wind, listen, day. So all the first three are totally different, but listen sound, last sound is resembling to gardener sound. So here A is repeated, then D sound, different sound. So here rhyme scheme is A, B, C, A, D. Next is alliteration, in which line we can see that there is an alliteration used. So when I'm in bed, I lie and I listen. So here I lie, I listen. So here you can see I repetition is here. So here alliteration is used. Next is imagery. How imagery is? Because an image is created here through the words. So here imagery is used. There's dusty old window around at the side, with three cracked panes of glass. I often think there's someone staring at me each time that I pass. I'll peep through that window one day. In these lines, the poet wishes to stare inside the shed. The poet defines that the shed has a dusty old window on its side. Three glass panes of the window are broken. Whenever the poet passes through the shed, He gets the feeling as if someone is staring at him. He has curiosity to know what is inside the shed, so he wishes to peep through the window. Poetic devices used in this stanza are alliteration and imagery. Rhyme scheme is ABCBD. How it is? Side glass, me pass, day. So glass and pass are having same sound at the end. All are different. So B is repeated. So rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B, D. Next is alliteration. Someone staring in the third line. You can see that S sound is being repeated. So here alliteration is. Next is imagery. An image has been created throughout the stanza. My brother says there's a ghost in the shed who hides under the rotten floorboards, and if I ever dare to set foot inside, he'll jump out and chop off my head. But I'll take a peek one day. The poet says that his brother often scares him, saying that a ghost lives in the shed under the decayed or damaged wooden floor. He warns the poet if he went there, the ghost would cut off his head. However, this does not frighten him, but he becomes more curious to go inside the shed. Poetic devices are rhyme scheme and imagery. Rhyme scheme is ABAAC. I know that there isn't really a ghost. My brother tells lies to keep the shed for his den. There isn't anyone staring or making strange noises, and the spider has been gone from his web. Since I don't know when, I'll go into that shed one day soon, but not just yet. In these lines, the poet seems to have grown enough to understand the truth. He is now able to overcome his fears. He understands that there is actually nobody inside the shed. No one stares at him and makes those strange noises. The spider, too, is no longer there. His brother had been telling him lies because he wanted to retain the shed for his own self. The poet has realized the truth, so he could not be fooled by his brother anymore. He would dare to visit the shed one day. He still waits for the right time to go there. So here in these lines, the poet is saying that he knows everything. He is not taking it granted. He doesn't believe whatever his brother is saying. He knows that there is nobody. Still, he is waiting for the right time to visit the shed. Poetic devices used here are metaphor and imagery. How metaphor is here? Here, the visiting place of his brother is being compared to den. Den means the living place of a lion. So here, visiting place is being compared to the living place of the lion. So indirect comparison is here. That's why metaphor is used. Thank you. Have a nice day.